Can you quantify the jump for us?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me. I think the jump for us is we've seen users and usage double over the last 2 months. And so it's been a sort of phenomenal period. And at a sort of numbers level, we've seen us stream 55 centuries of content to mobile devices in April and seen our ad impressions jump fourfold during that period. And so it's certainly been well beyond any expectations in the short term. But in a lot of ways, I think what we're seeing is the acceleration of what has been a massive trend for our generation. And we've all been moving away from traditional TV and taking control of entertainment, our own entertainment experiences. And being locked up together for the last 6 to 8 weeks has accelerated something that probably would have taken a few years to occur and made it happen immediately.
But despite that, Marc, you're laying off workers as part of a cost-cutting plan. Why is that? And give us a sense of the numbers that have been laid off.
Yeah, so look, like all, or not all, but many other businesses during this time, we've had to make some difficult decisions. And that's tough, especially when it involves people and it's during this period. But we've got a responsibility to shareholders and to our staff to rebalance our cost base, because during this period, whilst usage and users are significantly up, revenue is in our business is reliant on the advertising market. And so the advertising market is down as many businesses are hurting and they're pulling back on their ad spend. And so while the ad market is down globally, we need to rebalance our cost base to sit in line with those advertising revenues. And look, the hope is that over the next couple of months, as the restrictions get lifted, the advertising market recovers. And in that recovery, then we are well positioned coming out of that period. But look, the rebalance really is to ensure that our costs and our revenue remain in line with our business plan.
Yeah, and the company has been facing some money trouble, Marc, regarding your debt. And the company has mentioned this planned IPO on the AXX may not happen mid-year of 2020. We've already heard from existing shareholders like Fidelity say that they may actually cash out of its investment by asking you to buy back its shares if this doesn't go through. Is this going to trigger more debt repayments for you? Are there any plans to raise more capital now?
Yeah, look, as a private company, I would love to share all of our plans on financing, but I've got a board and shareholders, and they probably prefer that I didn't share that with the entire Bloomberg audience. But in regards to our existing shareholders, I would say that we have a great register of shareholders. It's always been a strength of the company, and they're extremely supportive and backing the business. And so I certainly don't have any short-term concerns over working through that with them.
Okay, no short-term concerns. You mentioned about the job layoffs. You also have to exit markets like Africa in particular. Are you going to have to do more in terms of saving and preserving your cash right now and maybe perhaps cutting more costs?
Yeah, so just for context, we actually sold our business in Africa to our partner, and we have really focused our efforts in on our core Asia markets. And so there aren't any other plans to either reduce or expand geographies. We're fairly comfortable and confident that we are operating in the right territory. We know the Asian markets well. The usage across our largest 3 markets, being Indonesia, Malaysia, and Philippines, have driven the recent spikes. We have deep relationships with the local content partners in those in that region, and so there certainly aren't any plans to exit any other markets.
Marc, you talk about having supportive shareholders, and your shareholders include MNC, Sky, and Evolution. Yvonne talked about Fidelity. Have you approached them for additional capital?
Yeah, we're in regular conversations with each of the shareholders, but as I said, we're a private company, and I certainly don't think that they would want me to talk in detail about what those conversations are to an audience as wide as yours.
Is there a concern that perhaps you could go into liquidation the way your rival Hook did?
Yeah, look, the Hook liquidation was actually really sad to see, and especially how quickly Singtel made that decision to walk away. The effort of a lot of great people over the last 5 years obviously didn't end how they would have wanted it to, and we had actually hoped to be able to acquire the business. We started those talks many months ago, and they had continued, and we genuinely thought there was an opportunity there for us to acquire that business. But the pace at which they made the decision to exit made that almost impossible, and I think it took a lot of the people at Hook by surprise. And so we're certainly, from our perspective, the aim was to try and help consolidate that market and provide the Hook customers with ongoing continuity. And so we're working with each of the content partners to work out what we can do with the content that now no longer has a home, and see what we at Iflix can do to both help the industry, the ecosystem, and all the customers that no longer have the service.
And Mark, this is in the midst of, we're hearing a lot of new competitors out there, right? The likes of not just Netflix, but Apple Plus, Disney Plus as well. When it comes to content acquisition now, is it a little bit more costly for you?
Yeah, so we used to be a service that was fairly heavily Western, and we've listened to our customers over the last couple of years, and our customers are telling us loud and clear that what they want is local content. Local content is what works on our service. It is the most consumed. We get deep partnerships with the local content providers in the region, and so our service is not aimed at the same audience as, say, a Netflix or a large Western service is aimed at. We are proudly local. We are proudly mass market. We're millennial. We're free, and so we aren't seeing any major changes with those entrants, given that the audience and the content profile is very different.
Mark, proudly local, and if we got it right, you're 60% original content. In terms of content, have you been hit by the lockdown?
We haven't yet. It depends on how long it goes for. We were fortunate enough that we managed to have a number of original productions already into post-production, and so we've been able to continue on with those, depending on how long the lockdown lasts. Obviously, we can't do any filming at the moment, and so there are a few projects that are on hold. But the hope is that the restrictions will continue to get lifted, and we'll be able to continue with that. But first and foremost, obviously the number one priority is the health and safety of all our employees and everyone in the industry. So we'll obviously continue to respect those restrictions and work with the governments as to when they're lifted and get back into the production world as soon as we can.
And Mark, once this pandemic is all said and done, though, there's still a lot of questions for the industry. In particular, does the business model need to change when you're spending millions, if not billions of dollars on generating content, and you're charging subscriptions that are quite affordable to your users as well? How do you make money? Is it time to change that business model?
Yeah, so our business model went through a significant pivot about 18 months ago, where our business is now predominantly an advertising-led free service. And so we are of the belief that the more people that we can give access to this service to, the better the business and the product evolves. And so rather than asking people in the emerging markets that we're in to pay a subscription every month, we are basically offering them a service that is free, and they consume ads while using that service, and we monetize the content by advertising. And so that model has seen a significant shift in usage and overall users, and that's the model that we believe works best for these markets: free, advertising-led, and mobile first.
Mark, before we let you go, just one final question. Your target was to break even by 2021. Are you on track?
Yes, we are on track. We delivered against all of our revenue and cost targets in Q1, and we have rebalanced the cost base in line with the the decline in revenue through Q2 and have a very clear plan and forecast through to hit that break-even number by the middle of next year.